Howdy, it's the day after I filmed and edited the video that you're about to watch. I just wanted to give a bit of a preface on this here. Firstly, I want to give great thanks to the folks over at backyardchickens.com in their forum section who helped me with some additional information. And second, I wanted to give you a bit of a spoiler here. The test results are inconclusive. I can't tell you if these are safe or not, to tell you the truth. Apparently, from some of the links that I was provided, almost all of the at-home lead test kits are pretty much useless. I believe on the survey I read, like 12 out of 16 couldn't detect anything, even when lead was present. So I hope you will watch the beginning of this video. You can take a look around the homestead here a little bit. It was 5 gigabytes of video and pretty much an all-day project. But once you get to the testing section of this video, unless you want to watch me fighting confirmation bias and finally coming to the conclusion that my results were invalid, you can probably just skip ahead at that point there. So, alright, well, y'all have a great day. Hope you all take care of yourselves, and thanks for watching. Howdy, this is Eric over at 2 Acre Homestead. I recently posted a video regarding possible toxic levels of lead in rubber feed bowls. Apologize for the chickens in the background here. I posted that video over to backyardchickens.com. I got a bunch of comments on it, and some were regarding possible unscientific testing methods. I am not a scientist, so I am going to try to retest these bowls a little bit here. And I also just want to give you a little bit of background as to my normal watering system and how I came into this, how I came to make this video. All right, firstly, this is the watering system that I use 99% of the time here. We have a Brute food safe trash can. I believe that's about a 40-gallon, not 100% sure on that. Brute trash cans are food safe, depending on the color. There are some colors that are not. Gray is food safe. And we got that running down through a bit of a hose into my PVC nipple system here, which runs around my feeder and extends on down here. As you can see, some of these nipples have a bit of a drip, but it's not really enough to worry about. I just top off the bucket. If it gets too bad, I swap out the nipples. Horizontal nipples over there, and Bud, you're not supposed to be in here. And the vertical nipples near the feeder. The chickens are stalking me and making quite a racket. Got 3 roos and 8 hens, if you're keeping track. Here comes Smokey. He is the alpha roo. These guys all think they're going to get treats here, which is why they're stalking me. And Buddy is finally get to the point where he's not chasing chickens, so great news there. But the reason why I started filming here is this is a bucket. As you can tell, it's quite dirty. This bucket's only really used in the winter, maybe a week or 2 a year, when I have to turn off the nipple system to avoid any damage from freezing. So this bucket was sitting in this pen here, just kind of unused and taking up space. And I saw a video on Acres of Adventure who was showing concerns about lead content in this bucket. So I figured I might as well test it. The bucket was sitting dry for several weeks, and then we just got a little bit of rain, and I tested that rainwater that was in this bucket. People are asking what type of roof did it roll off of, and so you can see we have a basic green metal roof up there. So when I tested this bucket, I came up with 30 milligrams a liter of lead, which is really bad. Now, because this bucket has been sitting out so long, there's a lot of dirt in it. Some of the lead could be from the dirt. Some of it could have been from the rainwater. It could have come from multiple sources. And I've had just about all those sources pointed out to me. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to clean out this bucket. I'm going to do a control test using well water from my tank over there. It's a 275-gallon storage tank. and compare it to water after I clean out this bucket thoroughly and see what the lead content is, because there are a lot of other possible factors that could have increased that level. I don't believe what's in there could have increased it to 30, because that's a lot. But we're going to test it and we're going to find out. It's not about what I believe, it's about what I can prove. So one of the questions I had was, what was the brand of the bucket? Honestly, it was too dirty to even tell. This is a Vortex brand, and I picked this up at a Tractor Supply probably 2 years ago, maybe a little bit more. Alright, excuse any background noise. We got somebody exercising their Second Amendment rights near me at the moment, so no big deal. We'll just move on with that. But this is my my well tank here, 275 gallon IBC tote. So I'm going to be taking water out of this. I will be testing it with these test strips that I got off of Amazon, 100 pack for about 20 bucks or so. It'll be going first sample into the mason jar, which is clean. Second sample into the rubber feed bucket, which I rinsed off significantly. I did not scrub it because I know you ain't scrubbing yours either. Alright, have the mason jar filled. There was no way I was going to be able to do that one-handed. And let's turn on the spout and we'll fill up this bucket here. Alright, that should be good enough for testing. I'll turn that off. And I'm going to put my sunshade back on. And then we'll see what happens with the test strips. Alright, I moved everything over to my little shaded area here. And I'm going to go get the tripod so I can actually do this free-handed. And we'll see what the results are going to look like. And I'll be back in a second. It was 1:30 when I poured these samples. It's now about 10 minutes later. I'm going to test the mason jar first. And these are Lawnful 16-in-1 drinking water test strips. Again, got these off Amazon, 100 pack. Alright, and we're going to test the well water first. I'm also kind of curious if I was able to raise the pH, because that was one of my main concerns when setting up the well, was my pH was way too low. So I added calcium filters and so forth. Alright, that's been soaked. And we'll put that against the chart. And lead is 0. Lead is the one closest to my finger, if that shows up. And I know it's not going to show well on the camera, but lead is, if not 0, then possibly between 0 and the first setting, but close to 0. Alright. And now I'm going to test this. This is after 10 minutes. Now these test strips, the colors do fade and change the longer after they are exposed. So it's not like I can do a side-by-side, show you one test strip and show you another test strip, because the results are pretty much invalid after about 2 minutes. Soak here. At them side by side anyways, just to see if I see a difference. Okay, honestly, they don't look that different after 10 minutes of being in the bucket. And here's the test strip for after 10 minutes. And I'm going to come back and give this about a half hour or so, and I'm going to test it again. And this is a bit concerning because my well water is apparently not 0 lead according to these strips. So that's going to be something I'm going to need to get a higher quality test strip and test that there. But in the first 10 minutes, I'm seeing no significant difference between the two water samples. Alright, so off camera, I went over and I dipped one of these test strips into the water bowl for the dogs, which is a stainless steel bowl, and that water is city water. And I'm getting the same not zero result here. So all three samples look pretty much the same, showing in the 15 milligrams a liter level. So we may have an issue with these test strips. That is a possibility. So I'm still going to test this again in a little bit, but all the test strips are showing non-zero on lead. And I know the city water is tested. The city water is running through a garden hose, so you may have some lead content there. I'm going to go test a tap and see if I get the same shade. I went inside, I also tested the house water, got the same shade of yellow on the lead. So apparently these test strips, once you open the foil, they have a life expectancy of less than 3 months. Because I opened up a fresh pack and the lead level came up as clear. So tested the tap water in the house first, got the same shade of yellow, opened a fresh pack of strips, and now it's showing clear. So time to retest everything. Retesting well water. Well water now showing 0 on lead. Testing the chicken bucket. And I'd have to check the time on the phone, but we should be at about 20 minutes since this has been in there. Put it the right way. Okay, chicken bucket now showing not 0. The shade is somewhere between, hell. If anything, it's between the 0 and the 15. It's a little bit darker than what I got out of the straight well, but not enough to say this is definitely a 15 now. I'm going to let this sit a little while longer and be back in a bit. Alrighty, just to summarize where we're at right now. The well water test strips that I was using for the original test, which showed 30 milligrams a liter of lead, those had been opened out of the foil since about January, and those were not accurate. I tested the house water, tap water, well water, everything was showing quantities of lead. I opened up a fresh pack out of the foil, and then the lead returned to 0. So the initial results were invalid, and I am retesting now. It's been about an hour and a half, I think, since I put the water in this here bucket, and I'm going to give it another test here in a minute. I've been testing it periodically because apparently you can't store these test strips anyways, and there's 20 in a pack, so I've gone through a fair amount of them. It looks like I'm possibly getting a non-zero. I'm not getting 30, but I'm going to let this sit a little while longer and then I'm going to retest. I just wanted to get a summary in there for basically correction purposes, because the original test results were skewed, not by the water source, but by the test strips themselves. Alright, the water has been sitting in the bucket for about an hour and a half now, and you can see it is going a little bit above 0. It looks like it is getting closer to the 15 instead of the 0. I'm going to let this continue to test, and apparently just because my initial test was invalid, that does not invalidate the concern about these buckets. So this is what we're seeing after about 90 minutes of the water sitting in there. Hey, it's now about 4 o'clock. I put the water in this bucket here about 1:30, and I slid the test strip up a little bit so you can see it a little bit better. but we are now approaching, we're definitely in the 15 range here on the test strip. It was 0 when the water was initially put in. I'm going to slide that down just so you can see the 0 color. So lead is leaching from this bucket into the water. I think that's pretty much confirmed now. And so after 2.5 hours, we went from 0 to 15. All right, it's now about 6 p.m. This water was put into the recycled rubber bucket about 5 hours ago now. And I'm going to retest both the sample in the glass mason jar and the rubber bucket for lead. This is the 5-hour test. On the 2.5-hour test, I got which looked like 15 milligrams of lead. So pull out one strip, close this thing back down. And look at the lead. Lead is at 0 on this, so the strip is not degraded, and the sample is still at 0 for the control sample. And get another strip, and we're going to test the water from the bucket again. Again, it was at 15 micrograms per liter at the 2.5-hour test. Dip that for a second or two, tap that off. Now I'm questioning if I read that right outside. So I'm going to redo this. I'm not sure if the longer I take to read it, it's maybe getting darker, or because I couldn't really tell by that first result, so I just want to do it again. It almost looks like it's less than it was before. I would say it is not 0, but I would say it's not 15. I'm going to stir the water a bit. It's been settled in there. So I'm pretty sure it wouldn't go down. That does not seem right. And I probably need a way to test lead that has something between 0 and 15, because there's a big difference between 0 and 15. All right, trying this one more time. Put you on the clean box. All right, I would say it definitely didn't go up, and it appears it may have even gone down, so I'm confused. All right, well, 6 p.m. test inconclusive. All right, I'm going to do a retest here on the tap water because I think I may be wrong, and I think I may know why I am wrong. And I'm not interested in being right to prove a point. I'm interested in being correct. All right, I'm going to do the test. Wish it. This is the tap water. I'm sorry, this is the clean well water, which should be 0. I'll put that on there. If you see the 3 yellowish ones, the lead is the yellowish one in the middle. Right now it's showing pretty much clear. What I want to see is if that darkens. Okay, so right now that is matching the 0, which is what we would expect. I want to see how long it takes that to darken. The reason that I'm doing this is I suspect the time it's taking me to get my eyes to focus on the result, it's possible that test strip is the color code is darkening, and then it is making me think it is something it is not. So I'm giving this a minute here. This video will be cut slightly because how long are you going to stare at a freaking bottle? But I want to see what's happening. And this way I have timestamps. It does not look like it's changed, and I should have been able to read it in this much time, even on the ones I'm really screwing around with. Alright, so that is still definitely a 0. Alright, I'm going to pull out another test strip, and I'm going to do this with the bucket order. Alright, lead is showing 0. And I want to see if that's going to darken. Alright, that's been a good couple of minutes. I'm going to say that's still a 0. So I'll review the footage of my earlier tests, but I don't think lead is removing itself from the water. So I am leaning towards all my previous testing has been incorrect. Alright, I actually just went in the house for a bit too, came back, left everything all set up. Lead is still at 0. I apologize for causing any panic to anyone, because apparently I have debunked myself.